All right. All right. Come on back. Grab a seat. I'm glad to be back. Glad to be back here at the end of the event. I guess this is it's a good parallel structure. I think I was the second person to talk when we got started, and now I'm the second to last person to talk here at the end. And where we left off on Tuesday evening, I said this is an event about how we can build our impact with consumer products and retail, and it's less about why. And so, again, a parallel structure is the reverse of that. We're going to come back out from how and now take the last 45 minutes and really focus again on why. And I'm grateful. This is a little thing we do at 8th and Walton. We meet every morning, different sort of topics or themes that we focus on appropriately. Today is Thursday, and we always, at 8:30, we do Thank You Thursday. And so it's just 5 or 10 minutes, 15 minutes for the team to share shout-outs and thank yous to everybody else in the group. I get to introduce and thank my good friend Tim McCarthy. He's walking away, so I've already offended him. Tim and I met about 10 years ago, might have been almost exactly 10 years ago. He was speaking on the Vistage circuit. Vistage is a network of CEOs that meet monthly, and they bring in speakers from all over the world. Tim was one of those speakers. He came to Northwest Arkansas. He spent 3 hours talking about marketing, and it was brilliant. And then he spent 1 hour talking about this card that he's putting in front of everyone right now. And basically, how do we make sure that the work we do aligns with our plans for ourselves and our lives, and make it we're the authors of our own lives. And at the end of Tim's 4 hours, I went up to him and I said, I want to be you when I grow up. And we've been friends ever since, and he's just a terrific person. And so I guess with that, I'll hand it off to Tim. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't need that.
Oh, very good.
All right, so I'm excited that it's this intimate a crowd because I can't stand if I'm presenting without interaction. Also can't stand when I can't open a bottle. The interaction today and the sole mission of today is for me, a great admirer of the people in this room, after watching you for 3 days, my respect. I mean, from the kids, from the school, to the people putting it on, to the people I've met that actually do take their business seriously in terms of its social impact, or as Brian and I would. Sincerely, it's really cool. And so when Brian and Jeff asked me to be here, I took a couple of weeks going back and forth with Brian trying to figure out what it would be that would be additive, right? So you guys have been really working on the business and on something bigger yourself through your business. Today we're going to work on through you. What's your own personal application of that? My favorite author now is a guy, anybody read Frederick Bachman? Just insane. And his most recent is My Friends. He was a guy that did Men Called Ovi. If you're readers, and especially you like rich fiction and marvelous use of words, he brings both humor and poignance to all of his works. A Man Called Ovi, Anxious People, hilarious. The Bears, hilarious for a hockey father. He's just a great writer. In this most recent, which I consider his best book, My Friends, he quotes Mary Oliver by asking, "What is it you plan to do with this one wild and precious life?" I want everybody to just stop, okay? And just close your eyes and think of your answer to that. What is it that you would like to do with this one wild and precious life? It's not a dreamy thing. Guys like Brian and me have been at it for more years than a lot of you have been alive. It's not an easy thing. But if you point at it with some intention, and then you put underneath it some of the disciplines I'm going to share with you today, it's a lot more fun chasing it than letting life bump you along. I'm 72 years old. I'm a social entrepreneur whose wild and precious life is in its 6th iteration. I'll give you a quick rundown on each of them. They're going to fall into simple categories. Being raised in a little town in Ohio, being a political professional. That's how I worked my way through college and then actually worked full-time professional as a party organizer. Advertising executive, I lucked out and was able to get underneath a Madison Avenue agency. Learned a lot. Became a business entrepreneur when I was fired from a C-level position, chief marketing officer of a 650 restaurant chain, 3 days before Christmas when my kids were 8, 7, and 4. And so out of complete desperation, because I did not want to go back to work for the man, because it was such a surprise, I started my own business. As a business entrepreneur, I'd like to say I was as socially conscious as you guys. You'll decide when I show you what I did. And then I became a social entrepreneur when I sold that first business. In 2022, my 3 40-year-old children, my wife of 50 years next month, and I started scaffolding an idea that we would push on the wealth that we've accumulated for another 3 generations. But when Alice and my oldest grandchild is 85, the foundation closes. I don't want trust babies. You know, at about the 4th generation, it kind of starts to. Here we go. I'm going to share my experience, see if I can get you to write about yours. My evolution in creating what I'll call a personal values brand will be the 4 steps I've taken you through. The evolution starts when the slide changes. Did it? Yay. My wife calls me the motor moron. And so if I don't hit all the switches right, forgive me. My aha moment came at age 41 when I'd had 3 heart attacks that weren't heart attacks. And so the doctor finally put me in psychotherapy fairly intensely for 2.5 years, where I could learn about myself a lot better. In that year, they then gave me a little medication, which I still take today, and they put me into insight meditation, a specific discipline called Vipassana, which is also known as bare attention, which is doing nothing but trying to see your breath and understand that everything is temporary. The aha moment came when every one of us have heard this parable. We've heard it as an American Indian story. I heard it first as a Buddhist story. Student says, "Teacher, I have inside me a lion and a lamb, fighting for my attention and action. Who will win?" Remember the answer? Whichever one you feed. Whichever one you feed. And that's why I got full up over the last 2 days watching you momos. You guys are feeding. I'm serious. You guys are feeding the lamb. It's so powerful to watch at 72. You know, people in their 30s and 40s making significant changes in how the entire business, down to logistics. You know, I talked to Enrique this morning. He gave me and the logistics company that he has in Atlanta, all purpose driven. It's so cool. In the 31 years since I learned Vipassana, I practice it because my lion and my lamb still struggle. Seems some days like a fight to the death. Early formation, I was the 9th of 10 children raised by a doctor and a journalist in a tiny town near the Pennsylvania border on Lake Erie called Ashtabula. You will be quizzed at the end to see if you can pronounce that. Ashtabula, Ohio. It was chaos. And then I had 2 good mentors out of my first 5. The 5 people that I worked for, 2 of them were amazing. The one of them I was practicing this with Caitlin this morning, and she said, "Do you remember anything particular?" One of them said to you. I said, "Yeah, Vince was the chairman of the agency I worked for, and told me one time that I had said something probably arrogant or rude. And he said, 'You know, McCarthy, everyone here agrees you have a tremendous amount of potential. Now, do you know the definition of potential?' I said, 'No, Vinny, tell me.' He said, 'It hasn't happened yet.'" So get in line, dude. Start learning. The first consumer impact business that I started was called Workplace Print. And the consumer impact started at we get permission from employers around the United States, and we build a permission database. It's now called Channel Media Group. Its president is my blonde daughter back there with a beautiful little 7-month-old in her arms. And what Caitlin did was turn digital what I had done analog, which was for 20 years we built this database that we were able to place our clients' products and incentives and messages inside the workplace. Pretty tricky thing to do and socially sensitive itself, because you have to act like you're in their living room, because you are. And they don't like people advertising and screaming and me. So it's a tricky business, and we love it. Then scaling the ventures of the business of good, trying to follow success with significance, and then my mission for long-term poverty solution, entrepreneurship, education, and equity building. We simply came to the idea that we had to focus on one thing. And the one thing we decided, and this was 20 years ago, not everyone's getting the chance they have always gotten in our country. That's simple. So the people that are the $12 an hour, $15, $18 an hour, any of them that get the ambition to get farther, our job is to help them. And I'll show you some of the ways we do that. Oop, I hit the wrong button. Does it say career transformation? Yes. Yay! Interpublic Group, the McCann Erickson at that time group, as I bet a lot of you folks did. I worked for 2 different agencies over time, but of course they're part of the same agency now, just like everybody rolled up. I was the senior VP of retail brands for one of the agencies under McCann. The Channel Media Group, which I hope you check out. She's built, Caitlin, since I left, access to 35 million at-work consumers for our client brands, just meeting them at work instead of at home. And then Raising Cane's was a great stroke of luck. I was presenting to a conference like this, and a 30-year-old kid named Todd Graves came up to me afterwards. I was presenting on marketing, and he said, "You're going to do the marketing for my brand, because I need a logo, I need advertising, I need a theme." And I wasn't really doing that anymore. And my mind changed about a week later when my kid lost his lacrosse scholarship and had 2 years left at a little Ohio college. And so I called him back and said, "If you'll pay my son's last 2 years of fees, me and my son will do your marketing." And it was amazing. He had 8 stores at the time. How many are familiar with the Raising Cane's brand? Yeah, he had 8 stores at the time. I think they now have 700. And they allowed me and my other son to become their first franchisee. And so between '04 and '21, we built and operated 44 Raising Cane's restaurants in Ohio, ended up with 3,000 employees, all of whom remained socially conscious, which was because of the thing that Todd taught us from the start: one love. And the one love that's underneath everything at Raising Cane's: one love for chicken, one love because they don't serve anything else except chicken fingers, one love for each other, one love for our customers, you know? I mean, who knew when you and I were kids, Brian, that people could actually say this stuff seriously and not be made fun of, right? Seriously. I mean, him and me were talking last night about how we get viewed as soft sometimes. Well, my experience is love always wins. It's undefeated. Did it change? Yeah? Yay! I'm really doing good. I'm a disciple of simple, and so even though it's going to be embarrassingly simple for some of you, I only had one mission statement the entire 19 years we were in business in the first consumer brand, and that was the golden rule. And people thought, well, that's too dumb, but I've been in all those big companies where we write 19-point mission statements that are full of beans. And so we decided treating others as you would wish to be treated really had a lot of potential to make good money. And you guys get it better than anybody. Usually people look at me like I'm goofy. So how we would train our teammates is we would put them in the situations that they were bound to be in. The client shipment didn't show up, you know, the vendor didn't get the work done on time, right? The person in the next office has decided they're going to create political chaos for you, right? I mean, all the stuff that happens every day. The client screams at you, right? And we would train to, okay, what do you do? How would you treat them like you would like to be treated if you made a stupid mistake? It really worked. It gave us great stability over time. The other thing we did, although I tried to attract people to take stock in the company over the 19 years, nobody ever wanted to. And so I turned everything into money making for them. So every year, every quarter, every month, and this was third year. We hadn't made any money yet, but we announced the program in the third year. Every pre-tax profit dollar that we ever made at Channel Media Group Workplace, 25 cents went to charity, and they guided a lot of the charity. 15 cents went to a very simple profit share. It was simply whatever percent of the payroll you are is the percent of the cash payout you are. With me? So it's super simple. It was just, you know, if we made $1,000, then what is that, $150? I'm a marketing guy. $150 gets split among people. And we actually ended up making a tremendous, and then 60 cents would go back reinvesting in the technology and the people. Where was the money made in that for me? The equity. May 14th, 2007, 19 years after I opened as a one-man shop, the Riverside Company out of New York City electronically transferred $45 million into my checking account. I had no debt. I had no partners. Nobody had wanted to get my stock. They laughed at me. And so we gave $8 million back immediately out of pre-tax back to the 72 people who worked there, just because we thought it was the right thing to do. There was no agreement. Most people just got 2 years' salary, paid over 2 checks over the next 2 years. We put, I'm going to guess half of it went into donor-advised funds, which established, Alice and I had started the business of good a few years before that. This really kind of grub-staked the effort. All right, I'm going too long, and I want to get to you. Scaling, just a quick comment. Scaling social impact is no different, not a lick different than scaling a business. It's awful. It's awful. It's awful. There's no way around it. But that's why it's so fun when I found out social missions could and should be built with the business discipline. And I'll show you a couple of those tricks. And these are the 4 main things we do, when they started and how long it took to, well, each one of them took anywhere from 7 to 10 years to scale. Scaling to me, again, pardon the oversimplification, it's formulaic. Most things, if I stick to 1, 2, 3, and then I apply constant pressure and discipline against 1, 2, 3, they work. For entrepreneurship, we lend to people who can't get money, the working poor. If they can't get money from a bank, we first build skill. They have to go through our school, which is free. Actually, it's not free. We have them pay $125, and there's 5 sessions. And each time they show up at a session, we give them $25 back. Then we lend to them based on the plan they write during their skill building. Not many people make it. If we get 100 people that year, we'll get about 8 to 12 loans that we actually distribute. And then the real key thing is to get them back as a network over and over again. If you're starting a social enterprise, most people starting a social enterprise not only don't understand business like me and Brian and Jeff were talking about, they think business is dirty. Ew, I don't want to do business. I want to change the world. Okay, well, how about if we help you change the world by doing business? So we build skill. Our brand's now called Sea Change Social Enterprise Accelerator. It's in 4 states. It's building fast. After they build their skill through our training, they then compete for grants. Those aren't loans in the case of the social enterprise. And then finally, I found out after working hard to get a lot of low-income and first-generation students into colleges with scholarships, how many people do you think, especially college kids that are here, the kids that enter this fall, on average, in total, how many of them are going to graduate within 6 years? Everybody, like the whole, all students, 100 students enter college this fall. How many of them are going to graduate within 6 years? About 45. About 45. If you're from low income or you're a first-gen student, how many out of 100 are going to graduate within 6 years? 130. 13%. So 9 out of 10 wash out. And then imagine being the kid that traipsed off to college, and now you come back defeated, and 9 out of 10 of them come back defeated. So we took that on as an issue about 15 years ago, and we've now got it absolutely nailed. We have a mentoring platform called America Mentors. You can look it up, americamentors.org. We provide free software program, training, monitoring, and a help desk for the schools. The school then connects the mentors and the students, and then we keep the network going. Did my slide change? Oh, I'm supposed to look down here. I'm sorry, Christian. Dumbass, I can see whether it changes. Wow. It's so embarrassing for Caitlin. So, 2 new pilot concepts we're forming. I only bring them up because I'll come back to this later. But again, it's 1, 2, 3. You want to get people affordable housing? Buy really crappy but good-boned buildings from the land bank. Rehab for about $100,000. You can get a person with that's an hourly wage person. You can get them into a mortgage. Oh my God! Now they can actually build something beyond paycheck to paycheck. And then our latest, because I'm so disgusted, but I don't do advocacy, so you won't hear any political remarks from here. We're creating a flywheel of triage that will allow people that are being attacked unfairly. I'm with everybody. If somebody's a criminal, I'd like them to leave too. But there's a whole lot of people getting caught in the web that we intend to figure out how to get representation. All right, there's Mr. Do-Gooder. All done, I hope. Yeah, I am. My personal values brand, we're going to start to build yours, is to scale long-term solutions for the working poor. 2 things. 2 inspirations drove this. Anybody heard of Muhammad Yunus and the Grameen Bank? Amazing story. In 1998, I read his book, The Banker to the Poor. And the thing that just screamed out of the book and put me on this path is he said, the poor are not poor because they're stupid. the poor are actually pretty clever, or they couldn't survive their poverty. The poor are poor because they can't retain the fruits of their labor. They can never get ahead of that, right? Because if you live in a bad hood, you pay more for milk. And if you didn't have a functional household, you may not get the schooling. You see where I'm going? It's like, it's not because they're stupid. They survive pretty damn well. It's because nobody's given them a frickin' chance if they have the desire. And then the other one I loved was, I went back to graduate school. It was one of the things that came from this exercise that you're about to start. I decided one of the things I wanted was to have a graduate degree. And so at 55 years old, I went back to 53, graduated 55. That May 17th date, or May 14th I told you about, the 45 million, was 1 week after I had gotten my first B during my MBA. Guess what it was in? Entrepreneurship. No, it's honest. I can't make that shit up. That's, I went to the professor and I said, dude, really? But it's true. But the very first class I was in, which was actually an organizational architecture class, which ended up being my favorite, a professor named Jay Dial said, it's high time that he said churches, nonprofits, faith-based organizations, government organizations, they're all doing their best. It's now time for business to take its seat at the table of social change. That's why you cats inspire me. You're the truth of what Jay was talking about in the flesh. So now let's get to work on you. Ready? Pull the paper up in front of you. This one. And I want you to simply do my instructions. Do not fail, all right? In the first box, and you can use your Remarkable or whatever they call it, or your iPad or computer. But if you're doing it, what do you call it? Analog. Then take your pen and write very simply in the first box what's the most important thing in the world to you. Don't make it complicated. What is the most important thing in the world to you? And yes, you only get one. Family, faith, personal legacy, relationships, wealth. No answer's wrong. It's all personal. And take your time. Don't go on to the second thing. I caught you, Aaron. Ms. Colleen was a special student. She was always she always finished the test first. Anybody willing to volunteer? Shout it out. What is the most important thing in the world to you? Anybody? Just what? Family. Go. I don't care. Somebody who's willing to speak. You've never been quiet before that I've known you. Oh, his sister really liked that one. Anybody? Connection. I haven't heard that one much. I've done this hundreds of times. Go. Family. Excellent. Most people put family. Anybody other than family? Wow. Go. I love it. You got a big-ass family? Is that what you're telling me? Because it's also friends and associates and all that? I love that answer. That's brilliant. Go. Wow. Yeah. She said leading a fully present, full-bodied life. That's pretty cool. Anybody else? I'll show you mine if you show me yours. Go. Who? Yes. The Ignatian person for others. All right, scaredy cats. Next one up. Here we go. This is harder. I want you to really take your time on this, and we're going to wait for you. Please think hard about it. At the end of your life, what would you like to look back and say, oh, wow, I did that? At the end of your life, I would love to look back and say, oh, 3 things. What 3 things did you accomplish in your lifetime? And again, there's no rules, no limits, and I hope you get outside of yourself. Doesn't matter. By the way, it could be travel. Like I told you, mine was educational. I wanted to get a degree. Financial, social, health, faith. Doesn't matter. Athletic. It's all good. Name anything that you would like to say you had done in your lifetime. And we'll give you a long runway on it. Let's say it's when you're 72. Don't make fun. I don't even buy green bananas anymore. I'm afraid I won't get to eat it. No shit. I mean, come on. You know. Ah, damn, I spent that money for nothing. 29 cents a pound. 3 things you would love to look back at the end of your life and say, wow, I did that. Anybody want to throw one out there? I usually do this in 4-hour sessions, and everybody tells each other everything, because this is a great cheating exercise. Can't tell you how many people have heard somebody else what they wanted, and it was like, oh, I forgot that. Anyone want to throw one out there? Go.
Happy kids.
Happy kids. At the end of her life, she wants to look back and say, oh, I raised happy kids. Excellent. So she's adding healthy, happy, and kind. I think that's about the most beautiful thing. I one time asked a woman what she wanted, what her ambition was for her children, and actually it was my mother, and she said that they be kind. It's what a wonderful goal. Go. Help others. Love it. Work on being more specific. Seriously, it's just a great way to say, you know, the others that I'd most like to be helpful, because that's my number one, is to serve others. But it gets even more fun when you say, oh, and especially I'd like to help logistics, you know, people. Seriously. Or people at the U of A, since you love that place so much, you know. I'm an Ohio State guy, by the way. Yeah, yeah, but it's cooler to be a hog than a nut. We're Buckeyes. Go, baby. Did everybody hear that? So build out a place in Costa Rica with a fish forest. Food forest. How frickin' cool is that? And by the way, how horrible will it be if he never does that? Right? I'm serious. That's the cool thing about this exercise. Because you end up discovering, oh, like if it was really amazing, I'd do food forest in Costa Rica. That's so awesome. Anybody else? Go. Louder. Do the impulsive fun thing, so you're OCD. I'm voluntarily ADHD, but only voluntarily. So I get it. That's so cool. I'm going to actually train my brain to say, screw it, I'm doing this. That's awesome. Anybody else? Isn't it fun? So what do you think I'm doing, by the way? Why am I making you write it down? Then you might actually look at it some other day, like years from now or weeks from now or what. I'm going to show you how I do it, but you don't have to be as goofy as me. Scotty Reston was one of the greatest writers in journalism history, part of the Pentagon Papers, a New York Times guy. And when they were on strike, a TV reporter said, "How you doing during the strike, Scotty?" And he said, completely confused. "What do you mean confused?" He said, "I write so that I can find out what I think." Did you ever think of how much your life is discursive? You're just, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that, I can't do this, I can't. That little voice that's in your brain follows you around, right? I mean, right? I started writing things down so I would get out of the discourse. Because it's, I mean, when Alice gets mad at me for who I am, I say, "How would you like to be up here?" You know, how would you like to be with this 24/7? My brain runs at the same kind of pace yours does, I'm sure. All right, I'm going to skip over a lot of this, even though I wanted to have some fun. That was a quick way, because we're getting close to 45 after. I got one more exercise for you, and I'm hoping we can dialogue a little bit. There's how I keep track. I think I was taught in Vistage that you can't change what you can't measure. And so when we decided we wanted to help these kids get through college, we decided that in 2020, when we finally scaled the platform, that we wanted 100,000 matches by the year 2030. And we're 28% of the way there, and got a real good chance to make it now because we're scaling the hell out of it. We've got a platform that works. We have participating schools that work. Same thing with the loans and the technical assistance. We wanted to help 1,000 by 2030. We're already at 736, so we'll probably get to 2,000, we're hoping. And then at 72, I decided that I need something more to do. And so about 3 years ago, Alice, my 3 40-something children, and I got together with our 5 closest advisors, and I said, you know, this is fun because Mom and I get to do whatever we want to do, but we really don't have a use for 300-foot yachts or airplanes or second homes even. We just, what do you guys want to do? And so over the last 3 years, we've come to a conclusion that the base, we've given away about 20 million so far, and we have a base of about 90 million currently in these mission, for-profit and non-profit driven, but this whole organization. We decided we'd turn it into a 75-year plan, and the kids decided to call it Project 2100. Over for as long as God's got left for me, I hope to watch them screw up. You know, because better I should be watching than, you know, than not. But I really do leave it to them. And then the last thing I want to work with you cats on, so how do I keep, so again, don't get stuck in the kind of obsessive discipline I'm going to show you right now, but every year I take my annual plan for my life to a retreat with my 5 closest partners and my 4 closest family members. Every year next year is an iteration of the last, and then I do intentional monthly updates. I'll share all this stuff with you if you want, or it's probably even on the website or whatever. And I hope some of you will write me. I do. That's all I do. That's what I do in a day. I talk to people, mostly on email, but in order to share their lives, hoping that meaning might be added to serve the community, like 3 of you said. It's my way of serving others, so I hope you'll. Timer's on. Real quick, here's what I'm going to be 2035. I'll be 82 years old. Here's what I got to get done by 5 years from now if I'm going to pull off 2035. And then here's the exact things I got to do in the next 12 months from the retreat. I'll be reporting on them in a couple of months from now. Then the way I stay up with myself to not forget what my intentional life was, and I've been doing this since 2021, is I set up on the left side, you'll see the project. In the middle is the mission. Motor moron, remember? Okay, that's what I said last slide. There's my 10-year plan. And again, I'll share it with you. It's on the far left is where I want to be 10 years from now when I'm 82. It includes my health goal, my weight, stuff like that. And then 5 years from now, and then what I got to get done this year if I'm going to head in those directions. Then very important to that is when my partners say, hey, they call me Old Tim because my son's Tim, and he hates Junior, they say, okay, how are you going to get that stuff done this year? So I do project on the left, mission in the middle, and then each month I have to report and say, here's what I got done last month, here's what I'm going to try to get done next month. Simple's hard, but simple is the most effective way to have impact. All right, last slide and last work. Ready? This is the tough one, and this has rules. On the bottom of your little thing there, you're going to name for yourself, and you'll share it with us or not, 2 actual actions, specific things you could do by Sunday night that would cause you to make progress on the things you wrote about, the most important things, or what you want to accomplish in your life. You may not write down, I'm going to start my financial plan. You may not write down, I'm going to get closer to my sister. You may not write down, I'm going to get healthy. You got to write down, I'm going to take a walk on Saturday morning at 9 a.m. Or I'm going to call my sister tomorrow morning at 10 and put it on your Outlook. I know you don't want to. You see where I'm going? Just give me really, really specific. Because I hate resolutions, I hate intentions, I love actions that are aligned with your intentions. Think of 2 things and write them down, please. You have 1 minute and 53, 52, 49, 48. You have 1 minute and a half around left. And then Christian's going to drag me off the stage. Or hopefully we can talk for a minute before we do, depending upon what the boss says. 2 things that you could do by Sunday night. You want to travel was one of your great objectives. Perfect. By Sunday night, I'm going to do research on a country I've never been to that I want to go to. Mine was, I told you I wanted to get a graduate degree. Since I had been a very average student, all I wrote down was, see who might let me in. Honest to God. Yeah, and I was lucky. We're a great football place. We're not a the greatest academic institution. Ohio State, because of my entrepreneurial experience, let me waive the LSAT. Because I took it online once, and I think I scored a 20 out of 100 or something. 2 things you're going to do by Sunday night. Anyone want to tell us one? Tell me something you're going to do by Sunday night. Go. Love it. What time? Sunday morning. Go.
Take my wife on a coffee date Saturday morning.
Beautiful. That's awesome. Joel. Did you hear it? Talk to my 84-year-old mind person. Anybody read the book 4,000 Weeks? Get at it. It's crazy. I got about 400 left. And I'm going to use them, damn it. Anybody? What are you going to do?
Super present tonight when I get home to my family.
To your family. So literally, all she's saying, when I get home, when I'm usually halfway back at the conference and halfway toward tomorrow, I'm going to be present to my family. That's an awesome one. One more. 2 more.
My kids do a party on Saturday night.
You were already going to do that. It's, we can go.
Play those with my son in his room.
Specifically, she's going into her son's room this evening simply to play Legos with him.
She didn't say with them.
Oh, she's going to play Legos and he's going to watch. I love it. But do you get where that goes, how freeing a feeling that is and how cool that is? Now, best news of all, and my close. You can't do intentional planning wrong. All you got to do is write it down. Doesn't matter the format. Hope my format might be adopted. Who cares? Please start writing down how you want to spend and do with this one wild and precious life. Thank you. Am I allowed to take questions? Or hopefully dialogue at all, or is this it? Questions or no? What do you guys want? Anybody have a question that they want? Or even better, it'd be a comment. Go.
Y'all were figuring out the branding for Kane. Where did the dog come from?
The dog was actually Todd and Greg Sylvie, his partner, had a dog named Kane for cane sugar. It was not Raising Cane. Then they added Raising Canes, and that's how because they went out and raised the money to start the first store by fishing in Alaska, making a ton of money during a 6-week period for sockeye salmon, they were going to call it Sockeyes. But they decided the dog was better. I told them in all my infinite wisdom that that was the stupidest name I ever heard for a chicken finger chain. See how smart I turned out to be. Anybody? Well, how fun. Thanks, everyone. Oh, on the back. I'm serious. Please be my pen pal. Honest to God. I'll send you any of this shit. I'll set up a time to call on a Zoom or a phone thing, and it's all free.
Thank you, Tim. There's stairs the other way. You want to go the stairs or that way? All right. Thank you all for coming. For Tim. Tim is awesome, and over the last few years, what we've talked about as far as kind of what he is trying to do with the his time now is exactly what he said right at the end. Just take 30 minutes several times a week with great people and great entrepreneurs and see how we can help them. So he really does mean it. Like, that's his own KPI, is like, how do I talk to more people like those that are in the room? And if you called him and said, can we talk, that would help him achieve his goals. It's true. Last, I guess, just one more time, thank you all for coming. Thanks for sticking through the end. This is a great room, even right here, right now. Like, how cool. This was our first ever Consumer Impact Summit. Thank you. Thank you, Jed. And thank Avad, Brian Welch, cannot thank you enough. Blake Woolsey, Chris Bond, moderators. I mean, a million thank yous to everybody. We'll see you all around town, or we'll see you next year.